Hello friends. In the last video we created a basic function and saw how we can invoke that function. But that function doesn't take any parameter and it doesn't return any value to its caller. Now here in this video tutorial we will look at a function with a parameter. We will also see how a function can be invoked from some other function. JavaScript function with parameter. So that's what we are going to see in this learning series video. In this tutorial, we will see how to create a function which receives a parameter. Remember, JavaScript is typeless. We saw that many times in the video series. So when we define a parameter, we just give parameter name because there is no types. Usually in other languages, high-level languages like C# and Java, we specify a parameter name, and before that parameter name we will specify the type of the parameter. Since Java is typeless, we don't need any type, so we just define the parameter name. We won't even specify where keyword. Below is a sample function signature which receives a parameter, and if you see, the function name is a greet person, and within parentheses we just specified the parameter name, and there is no type here. We just said that there is a parameter and the parameter name is a person name. Now let us look at an example. So here if you see in the HTML we have a h3 control to output something in the browser. Then we have two input types. One is the text input and ID for that is pname. So this is where you will type your name. Then there is an input type called button, and the click of this button is hooked with the JavaScript function greet. So just like our previous example, but this time we have a input box where you can type your name. So here we opened the JavaScript tag. So here this time you see this function greet person which takes a person name. So the greet message here is welcome Mr., and we take the parameter and we append it to the static text welcome Mr. Then we are setting the h3 element with the inner HTML. So this is an example for function taking a parameter. Now let us call this function from our greet function. So in the greet, if you see, we are getting an element from the HTML document. So document.get element by ID, pname, if you look at the bottom, the type is a text. So whatever user type here, we will retrieve that using the value attribute. So here you are seeing that JavaScript is accessing two HTML document element. In greet person we are accessing h3 out, then we are using inner HTML property to assign some text to the HTML element. But here in the greet function we actually read value from the text field using the dot value. So once it retrieves a value, we store that in person name. After this line we are calling the greet person and we pass the parameter person name. Alright, now let us go to demo. If you see here, the onClick event is calling the greet method. If you see here, the onClick method is calling the greet, And the greet method, after retrieving the value from the text box, it is making call to the greetPerson function. So here greet function is calling the greetPerson function. Then we already saw about the greetPerson. Alright, now we will go to the demo. So here is our JavaScript. This time we have two input element. One is the text box and another one is a button. Button is hooked with greet. And when we go to greet, in greet we are reading the document dot get element by id p name. This is the p name. Then value will retrieve the content which is entered inside this text box, so that we store in person name. Then we are making call to greetPerson function and we supply the person name value. So here once you come inside the person name, the content welcome mister is appended with the content which is typed by the user here in this input box. Then we access h3 out and assign the formulated greet message. Now we will execute it. So here is our JavaScript function example. In the text box we are typing here we are typing Rohit Gupta. Then when you click call greet, it reads the JavaScript reads the content inside this text box, then greets the person. That's all here in this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.